The ACL is a cross-shaped structure between the two bones that make up your knee. It's the primary passive element of the knee joint that holds the bones together. Non-contact injuries in the structure are common in individuals participating in athletics that require deceleration. If you don't have enough strength and control in the active structures around the knee joint, this ligament is at risk. Now, contact injuries are hard to prevent, but the most common that comes to my mind is the terrible triad, a blow from the outside of the knee that essentially loads the passive structures of the knee joint past their limit. Tests for a tear in the structure involve manually separating the bones to test for laxity. The less stability, the worse the tear. Now, it's almost been commonplace to this point to focus more so on what graft you're going to get to replace your ACL versus on any attempts of avoiding surgery altogether. We can't possibly heal from this, can we? Should you get ACL surgery, or should you try to solve it just with exercise? What does the science say? In the Canon trial from 2022, ACL healing after ACL rupture occurred in 33 to 50% of adults in the exercise group, depending on time of voluntary crossover. The natural group in the ACL healed, the natural group in the ACL didn't heal, and the surgical group. In every listed category, all groups started at an F- grade. Here's the average grades at 2-year follow-up. For knee noise, if the ACL healed, A-. If the ACL didn't heal, B-. And for the surgical group, C+. What about for knee pain? If the ACL heals, A+. If the ACL doesn't heal, B+. And for surgery, B+. So I'm literally going back and forth, walking to my phone, pausing it, drawing on the whiteboard, and it's taking way too long. So Alfred is going to fill in for me. What about knee confidence? If the ACL heals, we have C+. If the ACL doesn't heal, F-. And for surgery, D+. Now, what about knee function? Your ability to squat, run, pivot, kneel. If the ACL heals, B+. If the ACL doesn't heal, D+. And for surgery, C-. For all metrics of knee health, surgery came out on top only in 2 categories: knee confidence and knee function, given the ACL doesn't heal. Now, if the ACL heals, it's a slam dunk. There's no comparison between the natural method and surgery. Nature wins. And that's with only 12 weeks of exercise, and then, as far as we know, nothing until the 2-year follow-up. Now, it's not an exact comparison, but consider this. What if you're a surgeon and you only reconstructed 12% of the ligament that your patient needs to function, but you just send them on your way? I'd imagine the effect would be much less powerful. But in spite of that, in this study, with only 12 weeks out of the 104 weeks of time to follow up, exercise still prevails if the ligament heals, and only fails in 2 categories if it doesn't. Movement is medicine, and to know how to best apply the dose, we need to know how the physics of the ACL factors into the equation. The ACL is a structure that is loaded most in shallow knee bend when my body weight is going anterior. Just check this graph from Dr. Aaron Swanson to get a better idea. If you can't do that currently, there's 2 paths to success. Path number 1 is the backward treadmill. This device allows us to strengthen the VMO muscle, that teardrop-shaped muscle on the inside of the thigh, in a shortened position, allowing us to get more comfortable, developing stability on one leg with assistance, which we will eventually load in the other direction. Hundreds of reps daily on the backward treadmill can become a therapeutic catalyst when just starting out. For the step down, if you can't handle offloaded and going forward, a great regression is offloaded and going backwards. Progressing this reverse hip thrust until you can get to the point where you're doing these unassisted before finally progressing into the Poliquin step, a move pioneered by Olympic strength coach Charles Poliquin, dubbed the $1 million knee exercise because of him utilizing this movement with his gold medal athletes. But I see the benefit mainly in the physics that it affords for the ACL, because the heel elevation takes the ankle out of the equation, forcing more load onto the knee, getting the connective tissue of the knee to become more resilient, and yes, this includes the ACL, getting it thicker and more resistant to strain over time. Now, if you don't have an ACL that's continuous anymore, you can still perform this exercise. Just be sure to be more careful and apply regression when necessary. So that's direct ACL training. What about indirect training? We know that the primary active decelerators of the knee are the hamstrings and the calves. The more momentum you put in the knee at high speeds, the greater stopping power you'll need in both of these areas to compensate. Otherwise, your ACL is going to wear thin. What I love to use for the hamstrings is the Nordic curl. This device trains the hamstring specifically right behind the knee, not at its origin like in an RDL, but at its insertion right behind the knee. I haven't found anything like this to bias the hamstring at this spot. Simply make it easier with more incline, increase the difficulty by lowering the incline. Get crazy good at just lowering before deciding to explode up or perform holds. I love supersetting this with couch stretch to get some good interset effects, because the less tension on the front, the more potential for activation on the back. The same holds true for the ankle. In sport and in life, if you bend at the ankle, you have to bend at the knee too. Because of that, if you lack control of ankle speed, you'll lack control of knee speed, leading to more forces on the ACL. The soleus, the inner calf muscle that doesn't cross the knee, is our primary focus here. Because it stops midway up the shin, we actually have to bend down from the knee to bias it at its full length. A KOT calf raise ensures that we have enough muscular stiffness and neurological input into this tissue to help build up the resiliency of our tendons long term. Getting to the point where 25% of your body weight feels like a feather as you rep out on this exercise will be a good long-term goal here. Supersetting it with tibialis raise, either body weight or loaded, to open up the front of the shin, increasing the possibility of activating the soleus in this exercise. So to recap, reverse treadmill, reverse hip thrust to Poliquin step, Nordic and couch stretch, KOT calf raise, and tibialis raise. Those would be my top 7 doses of exercise to use to not only protect against ACL tears, but to gradually rebuild if you've been found to be ever so unfortunate to have to overcome one in your lifetime. This is just a framework, not a guarantee for success, but if you've been cleared to exercise and you need some guidance, I'm your guy. Click my Instagram link in the description and shoot me a DM. I'm glad to assist. Here's our greater pursuit of truth.